Hey, Novellineal, doing some test plays today. So me running your map here, Temptation. Look like you're just kind of looking for general feedback, you know, is it expert level? Yeah, because you kind of said you might think it's too easy. It's tough, right? Because with like 2.6, I don't know how complicated you can make it. But we'll see, right? Like if you got some cool patterns and stuff, like it doesn't have to be the fastest map in the world to be considered difficult. And really, like the label's kind of arbitrary anyway. Personal thing, I would probably tweak the numbers a little bit for expert, but again, it's so going to depend on what the map is doing. Like, this might feel really floaty for me. I don't think I'll change them though, but I might post a comment just mentioning some stuff with numbers. But yeah, I think I'll go ahead and jump in. So starting now. I wonder if your map has slow parts later, because this, I don't want to say it feels intense, but like, I'm surprised that it was such a low notes per second, given how much is going on here. Okay, so this might be nitpicky, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt, because like, if you're happy with this, not that I want to change it. But this part feels really repetitive, right? Like I'm center up, center up, center up, center up. And it works. Like it kind of works with the music. But I feel like for expert, I want to see a little bit more movement in it. Like we could have something like center up and then come down to the side and then up and down to the side. Or the opposite, down, up, down, up. Like I think I'd like to see more like that. Like this type of pattern where like my body is kind of physically centered and I'm always centered. Like I think you pretty much always have it down notes in the center, like every beat or so. Like that kind of consistency and having the player very centered makes me think of more of a hard level difficulty map. While for expert and expert plus, like again, it's not set in stone, so take this with a grain of salt. But I kind of want to see more movement. I want to get the player moving a little bit more. And again, you don't even have to change the basic idea. Like the patterns are fine, but you could have like some diagonal notes. You could have some straight up and down notes, like have the pattern move from left to right, would get the player going. So, anyway, that's all I'll say. Like this is very playable. Nothing wrong with it, but yeah, like there, you had me moving like left to right. That was interesting. I like the use of arcs. Yeah, that was great. You could consider, because you've got the arc kind of going through those dot notes on a diagonal, and that's fine. I would change the dot note to like the diagonal dot note though, because it would just look really nice, right? Like having the arc kind of come into the corner of just a square dot note. Like it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think it would just look really attractive if you change it so that the dot note is on the diagonal. So what's that? I think pressing Alt F cycles through the square and the diagonal dot notes. I think. Sorry, I'm bad at my keybinds when I'm just kind of not at my computer. So one thing you asked about was making the part with the lyrics more engaging. Honestly, I'm actually doing okay with it because again, the lyrics have like the movement here. But one thing I was just kind of thinking is it feels like just right now it's switched to like another. Like a slightly different version of lyrics. Sorry, I'm not musical. I don't know the proper terms. But I feel like it got more intense with the music in the background. And I think that's something you could potentially emphasize to make the lyrics parts kind of stand out more. So for example, when the lyrics are quiet, like your patterns are really nice. You're flowing, you got me moving. I'm liking that. And then when the music gets a little bit more intense, keep that same kind of flowing style, but maybe throw in some like extra walls, even some dodge walls, like something to just kind of elevate those lyric parts. A little bit more. And then that way you can still kind of keep the feel because like you got this really nice flow in these lyric parts. I like the arcs that you're using, even the ones that tail off. Yeah, I think that's a really good representation of the music. So like, let me go back a little bit. Like I want to see if I can. Yeah, so like this part's kind of quiet. Yeah, so like what if I'm just going to start here. So like this is, you got your part with the lyrics. And relative to everything, this lyric part is pretty quiet. And so then here's where the music gets a little bit more intense. So like maybe you could do some more doubles here to emphasize that change. Maybe you could add more walls, dodge walls, something. I wouldn't do bombs unless like it really makes sense with the music, but just something to kind of make this part stand out. And then like still keep the same idea of like your nice flowy lyric parts, but like that could be something you could do to make it distinguish. Like, for example, I think in the background, there's like a chorus going like, like something like that would be really cool to emphasize with like some walls coming by, like, and then it would be like that flow, that kind of dancey kind of feel. Yeah, and now here, even more so, like now the music is even more intense. Like the music's more intense, but you're still mapping the lyrics. So like now you could go even heavier with the walls if you wanted to. That's kind of a little flicky there. Because it's like the single saber section there. I don't have a problem with the fact it being single saber, but having it be a jump from like the bottom row to the top row feels a little bit intense for what the music's doing. But what I think you could do is just put them all in the bottom row. Or since it's moving left to right, what I love doing is like bottom row and then a face note, because then you're moving over to here anyway. So like in the second, like you can go up and down here and then have the last ones be downs, something like that. I feel like just the jumps there doesn't quite match the intensity of what the music's doing.
For the temptation in his heart, his life was doomed right from the start. He wanted more than what he got, but it was locked away. Obsessed with immortality, wanted to live eternally, wanted to make himself a god, and now he's locked away. For the temptation in his heart, his life was doomed right from the start. He wanted more than what he got, but it was locked away. Obsessed with immortality, wanted to live eternally, wanted to make himself a god, but now he's locked away.
Or maybe make the bottom row notes there downs. or sorry, diagonals would just look a little bit nicer. Cool. I like the ending. Yeah, that was really good. I also really liked what you were doing with the lights there. Like on the quiet parts, you really got them nice and down low and stuff. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, so overall, I thought that was pretty great. And again, even the stuff I was mentioning with like those are 100% just suggestions, right? Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with how you have it mapped. I think it's really interesting to play anyway. I was only just kind of mentioning the stuff with like ways to spice up the lyric section because I think you asked for that, right? Unless I misinterpreted what you were saying on the Discord, but you're asking like how to emphasize the lyric sections. So I'm just looking at my phone. Yeah, like how to make the lyrics more engaging and stuff. So no, I think how you map the lyrics is fine. But I think what you can do is you can use things like walls and stuff to build the intensity through those lyric sections, right? Like, and then that way you could basically keep what you map, but like have basically no walls to start, and then a couple of walls, and then bigger walls. Like I think that would be the way to make it more engaging. But that's only one way, right? Another way you could do it is because you don't really have a ton of doubles throughout the song, but as the music behind the lyrics gets bigger, you can start like introducing more doubles through the patterns, if that kind of makes sense with the music. Anyway, so I've rambled on long enough. I hope this is kind of what you were looking for, right? Because like it's great as is. 100% you can leave it alone. You don't have to make any of these changes. But this is what I like doing in test plays, is brainstorming ideas for like ways you can really elevate your map. So if you're not interested in any of that, 100% just feel free to ignore it. But if you have any questions, let me know, because I like talking about stuff like this. So if you want to brainstorm, 100% you can DM me. But anyway, that's the test play, and hope it helps.